we know about Peter Mandelson's emails to Jeffrey Epstein? And why did Prime Minister Keir Starmer defend him in Parliament before those explosive details became public? This scandal is sending shockwaves through British politics, raising questions about judgment, transparency, and who really holds the power inside Number 10. Today we're going to break down the full story. The emails, the timeline, the political fallout, and what this means for Keir Starmer's leadership going forward. Stick with me until the end, because the deeper we dig, the more troubling questions emerge. Setting the scene. Let's rewind. Peter Mandelson, a central figure in New Labour, sometimes called the Prince of Darkness for his behind-the-scenes influence, was appointed as Britain's ambassador to the United States. It was a bold move by Starmer, one that signaled a mix of experience and loyalty. But Mandelson carried baggage. His ties to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein had been whispered about for years. When he was appointed, the Cabinet Office's propriety and ethics team reportedly flagged concerns, even including references to his Epstein links in a confidential memo. But those concerns were brushed aside, or at least downplayed, as Mandelson took up one of the most important diplomatic jobs in the country, the email bombshell. Fast forward to this past week, and suddenly the Epstein connection was no longer a whisper. It became a headline. Emails surfaced showing Mandelson in direct contact with Jeffrey Epstein. Even after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting sex from a minor, in one email, Mandelson told Epstein to fight for early release and offered encouragement during his prison sentence. That revelation was damning. It wasn't just a case of knowing Epstein socially in the past. It suggested Mandelson maintained a supportive relationship at the very time Epstein was a convicted sex offender. When did Downing Street know? Now here's where things get messy. According to reports, the Foreign Office received a media inquiry about these emails on Tuesday. They passed the details on to Number 10. Senior officials were aware. Oliver Robbins, a top official, even reached out to Mandelson for comment. But when Prime Minister Keir Starmer stood up in the House of Commons for Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, he defended Mandelson. He insisted he had confidence in him, even though Number 10 had already been alerted about the emails. Starmer, we're told, only saw the full content of the emails later that Wednesday evening. By Thursday morning, Mandelson was gone, sacked as ambassador to the US, the fallout and criticism. That sequence of events has sparked a political storm. Critics are asking, why did Starmer defend Mandelson if his office had already been warned about the emails? Was the Prime Minister left in the dark by his own team? Or was he trying to buy Mandelson time while the damage was assessed? Either answer is bad. If he didn't know, it raises questions about how information flows to the very top of government. If he did know but defended Mandelson anyway, it looks like he misled Parliament and the public. Inside Labour, there's frustration too. Some MPs say this entire scandal was avoidable. Given Mandelson's controversial reputation and the warnings in his vetting process, others are questioning the role of Starmer's inner circle, especially his chief of staff, Morgan McSweeney, who reportedly pushed Mandelson's appointment hard. Did they ignore red flags? Or did they simply hope no one would dig too deeply into Mandelson's past? Why it matters. Let's be clear, this isn't just about one man's poor judgment in choosing friends. It's about trust in the government's ability to vet senior appointments, and about the honesty of its leaders when defending those choices. The UK's ambassador to the US is one of the most powerful diplomatic positions we have. If the man holding that post was secretly sending supportive messages to a convicted sex offender, that's a problem. But the bigger issue may be the perception that Starmer and his team tried to shield him, at least temporarily, from accountability. The bigger questions. So, what bigger questions does this raise? First, about Starmer's judgment. He's built his image as a serious, steady leader who can restore trust after years of political chaos. But scandals like this chip away at that reputation. Second, about transparency. Should Parliament have been told earlier that Number 10 already had sight of the allegations before Starmer spoke? And third, about accountability inside Downing Street. If officials had information on Tuesday, why wasn't the Prime Minister fully briefed before PMQs? Or was he briefed and chose not to reveal it? Looking ahead, Where does this go from here? Mandelson is already out, but the political damage lingers. Opposition parties are demanding answers about who knew what and when. Labor backbenchers are grumbling about the decision to appoint Mandelson in the first place. And journalists are still digging, which means more details could yet emerge. This story isn't finished. It's part of a wider pattern in politics. When scandals erupt, the cover-up, or even just the perception of a cover-up, often causes more damage than the scandal itself. Conclusion, call to action. So here's the truth. The Mandelson-Epstein email scandal is more than just embarrassing headlines. It cuts to the heart of Starmer's promise of integrity in government. Either he wasn't properly briefed, or he defended Mandelson knowing what was coming. Both options raise serious questions about competence and honesty at the very top. The coming weeks will show whether Starmer can ride out this storm, or whether this will become a defining moment in his leadership. What do you think? Was Starmer misled by his team? Or did he deliberately try to protect Mandelson? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And if you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives into the stories shaping British politics. Because trust me, this one is far from over.